Hello, and welcome to the Breakthrough Broadcast, the podcast where we dive into innovative STEM solutions to real-world problems that will shape our future. I'm Drew, and today we will embark on a journey into the fascinating world of wearable technology. Once limited to heart rate monitors and step counters, wearable technology has evolved into a sophisticated harmony of smart devices capable of tracking biomechanics, physiological strain, and recovery metrics in real time. Nowhere is this transformation more evident than in the sport of baseball, where teams are using data-collecting arm sleeves to reduce injuries, optimize performance, and extend careers. In this episode, we'll begin by exploring how professional baseball has pioneered the integration of wearable systems. We'll then expand our focus to examine how this technology can influence a broad spectrum of sports, from soccer to tennis to football to volleyball, and how it's helping athletes push the boundaries of what's physically possible. Beyond the competitive arena, we'll also explore how wearables are becoming increasingly relevant in everyday life, whether it's injury prevention for amateur athletes, health monitoring for older adults, or personalized fitness guidance. The applications can expand into our everyday lives. And finally, we'll look ahead to a future where wearable tech may seamlessly integrate into our clothing, our routines, and our medical care. Before we get into the promise of wearable technology, we need to understand the problem it's trying to solve. Whether you're a professional athlete or someone who exercises casually, the risks are very similar: injury and underperformance. In the world of sports, particularly baseball, injuries are not just common, they're systemic. In the MLB, arm injuries alone take out hundreds of pitchers each season, primarily with UCL tears and rotator cuff damage leading to costly surgeries and months of rehab. And it's not limited to professionals. Youth baseball has seen a dramatic increase in overuse injuries as players specialize earlier and train harder without adequate care for safety and sustainability. Despite advances in technology, many systems still rely heavily on subjective assessments. Coaches observe, athletes self-report, and treatment is almost always reactive. A player might feel tight or off, but without quantifiable data, early warning signs are often missed. By the time a biomechanical issue becomes noticeable, it has often already done damage. The problem extends far beyond professional sports. Recreational runners develop stress fractures, office workers strain their backs and necks, gym goers push through poor form until minor discomfort turns to major setback. Across all levels, underperformance and injury are symptoms of a deeper issue: a lack of insight into how our bodies are functioning under stress. So here's the question we must ask. In a world full of information, why do we still move so blindly? And that brings us to the core challenge. Can technology help us move smarter, not harder? Can we build tools that don't just track what we've done, but guide us toward what we should do to stay healthy and perform at our best? Wearable technology claims it can, but to evaluate that claim, we first need to understand how it works, where it's being used most effectively, and what kind of impact it's already having. Okay, now that we've defined the problem, injury and underperformance, the next logical step is understanding the solution, which I propose to be wearable technology. At its simplest level, wearable technology is a system of embedded sensors, small, lightweight devices that collect detailed data about the body in motion. These sensors are typically integrated into garments, accessories, or equipment. Think of compression sleeves, smartwatches, cleats, or even baseball gloves, each embedded with the ability to monitor movement, force, and fatigue in real time. Let's break down some of the common sensor types. EMG sensors detect electrical activity in muscles, providing insight into when and how strongly a muscle is firing. Accelerometers measure how fast something is speeding up or slowing down, ideal for tracking changes in movement. Gyroscopes detect rotation and orientation, essential for understanding joint angles and body position. And GPS modules track position and velocity over a large area, especially useful for field sports. But the real innovation isn't just in data collection, it's in how that data is interpreted. And that's where AI and machine learning come in. Machine learning algorithms can process massive amounts of motion data to identify patterns that aren't always visible to the naked eye. Over time, these systems can learn what normal looks like for any one specific athlete and can detect small deviations that might represent fatigue, inefficient mechanics, or elevated injury risk. Let's consider a real-world example. A pitcher wearing a smart sleeve with integrated speed sensors and EMG sensors throws a bullpen session. The sensors collect thousands of data points: arm speed, elbow torque, shoulder rotation, and muscle firing patterns. That data is then uploaded to a platform where machine learning compares it to the pitcher's historical averages and benchmarks. Suddenly, an alert is generated. Increased elbow torque and delayed shoulder rotation detected. The computer finds that these factors represent increased risk of injury. That alert isn't just information, it's actionable intelligence. A coach might pull the pitcher early during a game, adjust mechanics, or schedule rest before injury sidelines a player. And this tech isn't limited to baseball. In soccer, wearables can detect when a player's sprint performance drops below the baseline, potentially signaling joint fatigue. In golf, subtle grip changes detected by glove sensors can help refine swing mechanics. And in rehab from surgery or anything else, real-time feedback allows patients to correct posture or gait without constant supervision. What makes all this possible is the seamless fusion of hardware, sensors, and AI systems designed to learn from human motion. It's a synergy that moves us from guesswork to precision. And as this technology becomes more and more sophisticated, the insights become sharper, the feedback becomes more personalized, and ultimately, the technology becomes more predictive. And that is the true innovation that makes wearable tech so promising. Like previously mentioned, of all the major sports, baseball has far and away gone furthest in integrating wearable technology into its training and performance. This is no accident. Baseball's long history and emphasis on mechanics, especially for pitchers, make it ideal testing grounds for this innovation. Let's begin with a cornerstone device in this movement toward wearable tech, the Modus sleeve. This wearable, worn on the pitcher's throwing arm, houses sensors that measure variables like elbow torque, shoulder rotation, and arm speed. In a sport where the repetitive stress of pitching often leads to elbow injuries, particularly UCL tears, these metrics are crucial. The Modus system doesn't just record data, it translates into actionable insights. Then there's Catapult Sports, another leader in the space. Their GPS-based systems are more commonly associated with soccer and football, but they found a baseball home as well, particularly for tracking outfielders, and base runners. The sensors measure total workload, acceleration, top speed, and movement asymmetries. This allows teams to manage fatigue, structure recovery, and even predict soft tissue issues before they occur. Meanwhile, Driveline Baseball, a player development organization, has fused wearables with advanced biomechanics to completely reshape pitching and hitting training. Athletes train with high-speed motion capture, wearable sensors, and force plates. The goal? To understand movement at a granular level and optimize it for power, efficiency, and injury resilience. In Driveline's programs, pitchers often train with sensor-embedded balls that track spin rate and release angle. Batters use biomechanical vests and sensors to analyze swing path, bat speed, and kinetic chain efficiency. The resulting feedback is almost immediate, allowing players to make micro-adjustments in real time. This is data-informed coaching, not hunch-driven advice. Let's talk injury prevention. Traditional pitching guidelines often relied on generic pitch counts, but these don't account for individual variability. Some arms break down at 40 pitches, others remain strong at 90. With wearable data, coaches now understand how a player throws, not just how often and how hard. This shift has enabled more personalized workouts and smarter recovery strategies. And then there's the performance side. Players using swing tracking wearables have improved launch angle, exit velocity, and plate discipline by refining their mechanics based on real-time feedback. In one case, a college batter struggling with consistency found through wearable feedback that his bat lagged slightly on low and outside pitches. Drills targeting that specific flaw led to a significant bump in his on-base percentage. What's remarkable is how widespread this tech has become, not just in Major League Baseball, but across NCAA programs, minor league teams, and even youth academies. Organizations that once relied solely on a coach's eye and intuition now incorporate sensor data into daily decision-making. View dashboards before bullpen sessions. Strength staff analyze workload trends over time. Rehab specialists monitor throwing mechanics during recovery, ensuring the athlete doesn't reintroduce harmful movement patterns. This is the essence of the technology's ability for transformation, a shift from intuition to insight, from reaction to prediction. It's not just about preventing injuries or adding velocity. It's about building longevity, consistency, and trust in the training process. Wearable tech has made athletes more aware of their bodies and coaches more accountable for how they guide development. One MLB pitching coach put it, "We're not guessing anymore. We're reading the signs in real time." Next, we'll explore how these same principles are spreading across the broader world of sports and how baseball's approach is serving as a blueprint for this process. While baseball may have led the way in wearable integration, the technology has quickly taken root across the broader sports ecosystem. And in each discipline, wearables are being tailored to the sport's unique demands, from things as unique as head trauma in football to stress regulation in esports. Firstly, football, where the physical stakes are extraordinarily high. The nature of the sport is frequent collisions and high-impact tackles, making concussion monitoring a top priority. Wearables embedded in helmets or mouthguards can track linear and rotational acceleration during impact. This data helps medical staff assess the severity of hits, quickly identify potential concussions, and make better decisions about if players should return to the field. Some systems even alert trainers in real time when an acceleration threshold is exceeded, signaling a particularly unsafe impact and initiating evaluations on the sideline, even before symptoms appear. In track and field, wearable tech has become integral to understanding gait, strides imagery, and ground reaction forces. Lightweight sensors placed on shoes or hips measure every phase of a runner's stride, from contact to propulsion. Coaches use this data to correct inefficiencies, prevent stress-related injuries, and fine-tune training plans to one's individual biomechanics. For jumpers and throwers, sensors can capture the angles and velocities of limb movements, helping improve form and maximize output. Swimming presents a unique challenge, data collection underwater. But even here, wearables have found a role. Waterproof sensors can attach to goggles or swim caps, trapping lap count, stroke type, velocity, and turn efficiency. AI models can analyze this information to assess technique and fatigue, offering feedback that was once only possible through video analysis after the fact and stopwatch timing. Perhaps more surprising is the emergence of wearables in esports. These athletes may not sprint or jump, but they deal with mental demands like the requirement of fast reflexes, decision-making, and sustained focus. Biometric wearables track heart rate variability, or HRV, galvanic skin response, and cognitive load. Elevated stress readings can indicate burnout or mental fatigue. These insights help coaches and players optimize training and even structure gameplay based on focus cycles. The common denominator across these varied applications is the integration of artificial intelligence. Raw sensor data means little on its own. It's the AI's ability to interpret, contextualize, and predict the transform noise into actionable strategy. In each sport, the tech adapts. Concussion risk in football, biomechanical precision in track, hydrodynamics in swimming, and psychological stability in esports. It's a reminder that wearables aren't just about movement. They're about understanding performance in all forms, whether that's physical, mechanical, or cognitive. When we talk about wearable energy, it's easy to picture elite athletes with expensive high-tech gear, training for fractions of a second or inches of performance. But that image doesn't tell the whole story. In fact, wearable tech isn't just for athletes. It's already woven into the everyday lives of millions of people, from professionals in office buildings to parents balancing home life to older adults managing their health. Take a look around. The smartwatch on someone's wrist, the ring silently tracking heart rate overnight, the earbuds offering real-time feedback on stress or focus. These aren't futuristic novelties. They're mainstream, fairly affordable, and increasingly essential. Smartwatches, for example, have evolved far beyond step counters. They monitor sleep cycles, breathing rates, heart rhythm irregularities, and even detect when someone has fallen. They offer guided breathing exercises when stress levels spike. For many, they function as both a personal trainer and a wellness coach. Smart rings can continuously track sleep quality, temperature shifts, and daily recovery scores. Even smart apparel, once reserved for research labs, is becoming commercially available. Compression shirts that cure posture corrected, socks that detect pressure imbalances, and shirts that track respiration are quietly revolutionizing how we care for our bodies, even when we're not working out. This technology is especially impactful for older adults. Wearables now monitor gait, flag early mobility decline, and automatically notify caregivers or even emergency services in the event of a fall. These features promote independence, extend quality of life, and provide peace of mind for families. For those living with chronic illnesses, wearables are a game changer. Devices can track trends in blood pressure, glucose levels, and oxygen saturation, turning what used to require a trip to the clinic into a daily passive process. More importantly, these tools help identify dangerous patterns early and connect users with physicians before conditions escalate. Across these scenarios, the core value lies in prevention, awareness, and autonomy. We're no longer waiting for health issues to emerge. We're identifying risk factors before symptoms appear. We're correcting posture before strain turns to pain. We're adjusting sleep routines before you fall asleep at the wheel. So while wearable tech may have originated in professional sports, its true power lies in how it's now quietly optimizing the everyday routines of millions of ordinary people. It's making health more accessible, performance more personalized, and well-being more proactive. When we think of performance, we tend to focus on the physical aspect: speed, strength, and flexibility. But the mental side of performance is just as critical. So much so that high-level sports teams, astronauts, and businesses employ performance psychologists to help them stay focused. Unfortunately, these psychologists are not perfect. They make mistakes and cannot objectively identify when focus is faltering. Enter the world of neurotechnology. Wearable devices designed not to track your steps or heart rate, but to monitor and enhance your brain's performance. This growing category includes tools like EEG headbands, neurofeedback devices, and brain stimulation wearables, and it's transforming how we train our minds. Let's start with EEG wearables. EEG measures the brain's electrical activity. Devices like the Muse headband use EEG sensors to track brainwaves in real time, offering insight into levels of focus, calm, and cognitive load. Originally marketed for meditation and stress management, Muse has found a surprising user base among athletes, students, and professionals looking to optimize mental performance. Another standout is Halo Sport, which uses neurostimulation to prime the brain for faster learning. Unlike headphones, Halo delivers a gentle electrical signal to the motor cortex, helping athletes improve muscle memory during training sessions. Studies show it can accelerate skill acquisition, whether it's mastering a golf swing or learning a new piano piece. The real game changer, once again, is artificial intelligence. These neurotech wearables don't just track brainwaves, they learn patterns. AI analyzes how mental fatigue builds, how focus peaks and dips, and when stress begins to affect performance. Over time, the system becomes personalized, offering tailored recommendations for breaks, recovery, or training schedules based on real mental metrics. And this isn't just for elite athletes. Students are even using EEG headbands to train for better concentration during study sessions. Corporate professionals wear neurofeedback devices to manage stress and improve decision-making under pressure. Pilots, surgeons, and gamers are exploring these tools to maintain precision in high-stakes environments. The applications are diverse, but the goal is the same: to better understand and train the brain. In sports, especially, this is the next frontier. Coaches are beginning to incorporate neurotech into routines, helping players manage pre-game anxiety, boost in-game focus, and recovery mentally as well as physically. We often hear mental toughness praised, but never before have we had the capabilities to actually measure it. Ultimately, neurotech refocuses the conversation of performance. It's no longer just about muscles, joints, and reaction time. It's about mental clarity, emotional regulation, and cognitive endurance. As the tech continues to evolve, expect to see these wearables not just on athletes, but in classrooms, boardrooms, and maybe even at the breakfast table. As we've seen throughout this episode, wearable technology excels at gathering data, from heart rate to stride length to brainwave activity to joint torque. But raw data by itself has a limited value. What transforms that information into insight, and more importantly, into action, is artificial intelligence. In many ways, AI is the brain behind the body. At its core, AI in wearable tech serves two primary functions: interpretation and prediction. The first involves making sense of the massive stream of data coming from multiple sensors. Is the pitcher's elbow angle deteriorating? Is a runner's cadence too erratic? Has a gamer's focus dropped during critical moments? These patterns are often invisible to the human eye, but obvious to a well-trained algorithm. However, this is useless without the second function: prediction. Prediction is what gives wearable tech its real edge. Using historical data and behavioral trends, AI systems can use the data obtained from the interpretation phase and forecast potential issues that could arise. And because these models continuously learn from the user, they become more accurate over time. This is the heart of machine learning personalization. Unlike traditional fitness recommendations, which are static and one-size-fits-all, or more accurately, one size doesn't fit all, AI adapts in real time to the individual. It learns your recovery curve, how stress affects your sleep, how hydration influences your heart rate. Over days and weeks, it builds a personalized baseline, adjusting recommendations to optimize your unique biology. AI can also bring around real-time adaptation to its feedback. Essentially, wearable tech that not only detects your slouching, but also modifies its feedback and tone, depending on your activity level, mood, or sleep history. Or a smart sleeve that recognizes A change in throwing mechanics mid-game and might give specific feedback that will improve mechanics for the short term, which might be different from the feedback that would be given later in practice, which will aim to improve technique in the long term. Surprisingly enough, these are not even hypothetical scenarios. They're already in development. This idea of real-time adaptation is similar to the development of contextual feedback. For example, a spike in heart rate might be interpreted differently during a workout, meeting, or sleep. AI doesn't read and respond, it reasons. It can distinguish between effort, anxiety, illness, or fatigue and respond appropriately. This kind of intelligence is what elevates wearable technology from being passive trackers to active performance partners, and what makes these devices increasingly indispensable, again, not just for athletes, but for anyone navigating stress, complexity, and physical demands of life. As wearable technology becomes more sophisticated and more deeply embedded into daily life, it brings with it a host of ethical challenges that can't be ignored. First and foremost is the question of data ownership. Every heartbeat, motion pattern, sleep cycle, and brainwave collected by a wearable is part of your unique biometric footprint. But who owns that information? The individual who generated it? The company that built the device? Nobody? In many cases, users unknowingly sign away the rights to their own data through vague or opaque user agreements. These documents are often written in dense legal jargon, buried behind I agree buttons. As a result, most users have little idea how their personal health data is being stored, shared, and monetized. How impactful could it be to have an outside company storing and selling your health information? Then there's the issue of mandatory use. In some high-performance environments, like professional sports teams, corporate wellness programs, or even schools, there's growing pressure to adopt wearables. But if participation becomes a requirement, what happens to personal choice? Are individuals truly consenting or simply complying out of fear of exclusion or penalties? Another layer is surveillance. A wearable means to track health or improve performance can easily become a tool for constant oversight. In the wrong hands, this data could be used for micromanaging employees or even more than ever before, profiling individuals. Or could be used to make insurance or employment decisions that could keep someone out of a job because of how they might get distracted in certain situations. We also have to talk about algorithmic bias. AI systems that analyze wearable data are often trained on limited data sets, meaning they might not account for diversity in gender, age, race, or disability. If wearables are to become truly universal tools, their data models must be inclusive, and their recommendations validated across all populations. This is already a problem with AI. Many times it prescribes solutions to problems assuming an upper-class white male, something that doesn't apply to the vast majority of people. So, considering all these issues, what's the best path forward? It starts with human-first design. Systems that center user autonomy, transparency, and respect. Users should be able to clearly see what data is being collected, control how it's used, and delete it when they choose. Ethical frameworks must evolve alongside technology, ensuring that the tools meant to support our health never compromise our agency. In the end, developments in tech are no longer just a technical challenge, it's a societal one. The question can no longer be, can we build it, but should we build it, and how? Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the world of wearable tech. We have journeyed through a fascinating intersection of biology, data, and innovation. We explored how wearable technology is reshaping everything from baseball mechanics to sleep quality. We looked at the role of AI in turning movement into meaning, and how these tools are shifting us from reactive to proactive, from guesswork to precision. We celebrated a future where movement becomes smarter, training becomes safer, and wellness becomes personalized, driven by insights, not assumptions. Behind all of this is a powerful group of scientists, engineers, designers, and data experts who are not just building gadgets, they're building systems that protect joints, sharpen minds, and extend lives. Now, the baton passes to you. If this episode sparked curiosity, share it with a colleague, a family member, or a friend. I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions at breakthroughbroadcastconnect@gmail.com. Next time, we'll explore antimatter unleashed, power from particle collisions, and I can't wait to share some cool insights with you.